The King with the Golden Touch. Midas, the richest king in the world, sat on his throne thinking of his treasure house. He longed to be richer still. He wished to have so much gold that no one could count it. But no matter how deeply he thought, he could find no way by which he might make himself still richer. As he sat there thinking and planning, some shepherds came into the hall and bowed low before the king. With them they brought an old man, Silenus. "Lord," said the shepherds, "we found this old man wandering in your orchard. He is lost." "It is Silenus, friend of the god Dionysus," said Midas. He descended from his throne and welcomed the old man. "You shall stay with me in my palace for 10 days," he said. "I will feast you and treat you well, and then I will take you back to your friend Dionysus." So for 10 days Silenus stayed with Midas and feasted royally. At the end of that time, the king himself guided the old man back to the court of Dionysus. The god was overjoyed to see his friend once more, for he had mourned him as lost. He embraced him, and then turned in gratitude to Midas. "Ask what you will, and I will grant it," he promised. Midas could hardly believe his ears. At last, his chance had come. He could be richer than all the kings in the world put together. "Grant that everything I touch shall be turned to gold," he begged. "Let me have the golden touch." "So be it," said Dionysus, laughing. "But do you think that will bring you happiness, Midas?" "I know it will," answered the greedy king. "Oh, Dionysus, do you really grant this desire of mine?" "The golden touch is yours," said Dionysus, and turned to enter his palace. Midas went homewards, followed by his wondering slaves. He longed to try his power, so he plucked a twig from a tree. Lo and behold, it turned to pure gold in his hands. Then the king knew that his wish had been granted, and he was beside himself with joy. He touched his garments. They turned to glittering gold. But they felt very heavy, and the king could hardly walk. That did not trouble him, for he knew that they were now worth far more than before. Then Midas stooped and kicked up some common pebbles on the path. As he touched them, they too turned to bright yellow gold. The king handed them to his gaping slaves and bade them carry them. Then he touched a clod of earth, which at once changed to the precious metal. In a short time, the slaves were so heavily laden with golden objects that they could hardly walk along. Soon Midas came back to his own palace. As he passed through the gardens, he plucked a red rose. To his great delight, it became a perfect golden blossom. It had lost its beautiful fragrance and softness. But what did Midas care for that? Was it not gold? He pulled apples from the trees and threw them to his attendants to place in the treasure house. He changed the whole tree to gold by passing his hands over the trunk and branches. There it stood, bright yellow, very stiff and very ugly. But Midas thought it was the most beautiful tree he had ever seen. He entered his palace and threw himself down on a seat, tired with excitement. At once the seat became solid gold, too heavy to move. "Bring me water to wash with," commanded Midas, "and set the table with food, for I am hungry and would eat." Slaves brought him a silver ewer of clear, cool water, Midas turned the silver into gold at a touch. Then he put his hands into the water. At once it changed to gold ice. Midas could not wash his hands, and hastily he took them out of the curiously changed water. He sat down at the table and saw with pleasure that the cloth, dishes, and glasses all turned to gold under his hands. But now a great shock awaited the king. As soon as he put bread to his mouth, he found that too turned to gold and was uneatable. He snatched at a cake and crammed it into his mouth quickly, hoping that he could swallow it before it became hard. But he could not. His teeth crunched on the golden cake, and he could neither bite nor swallow it. The poor king took up a goblet of wine and raised it to his mouth. He took a long draught, but even as it passed down his throat, it turned to a burning golden liquid, and Midas suddenly felt very ill. He sat there, gazing at the fine food spread out before him, unable to eat a crumb. Soon his hunger overcame him again, and once more he tried to eat. The fish he took on his fork became stiff and golden, and the miserable king flung it down in dismay. He arose and went walking in the gardens, trying to forget his hunger. A slave approached him, but the king bade him go away, pushing him as he gave his command. At once the man became a golden statue and stood stiffly on the grass, unable to move or speak. Midas was horrified, but he could not bring the man back to life again. As he stood there gazing in dismay at his golden slave, his children came running to him. Without thinking what he was doing, the king put his arms around them, only to find, to his great fear and horror, that they, like the slave, had all changed to little statues. Then Midas was indeed unhappy. Could he, the richest man in the world, ever eat or drink again? Were his beautiful children to remain golden statues? Was he to die of starvation, when by his magic power he could make enough gold to buy up all the corn, all the wine in the world? In despair, the wretched king fondled his golden children and besought them to speak to him again, to look at him with their merry eyes. The little golden statues said never a word. Then Midas ran through the gardens and went all alone down the highway. He meant to go to the god Dionysus and beg him to take away this dreadful golden touch. He walked as swiftly as he could, weighted down by his heavy golden garments. And at last, just as the sun was setting, he came to the court of the merry god Dionysus. "Why do you return to me?" asked the god. "Have you not obtained the boon you asked?" "Yes," answered Midas, "I have the golden touch, O Dionysus, but I come now to ask you to remove it from me, for I am very unhappy. I can neither eat nor drink it, and my beloved children are changed to golden statues." "Did I not say that no happiness could come from the golden touch?" demanded the god. "Keep your gift, Midas, and do not come whining to me." Then the frightened king fell upon his knees, and with golden tears rolling down his cheeks, besought Dionysus to be merciful. "I was wrong to love gold so much," he cried. "I am bitterly punished. Pardon me, Dionysus, and remove this hateful gift from me. What can I do to cure myself?" Then the god was sorry for the unhappy king. "Go to the waters of the river Pactolus," he said, Bathe yourself therein, and the golden touch will leave you." Midas hardly waited to thank the god, but at once made his way to the river. He plunged into the cool waters and saw that they became amber yellow. He felt the mysterious power leaving him and rejoiced. When he came out of the river, he found that the sandy bed had changed from silver to gold. To this day, it has remained yellow, and even now men still pick up golden grains at the spot where the unhappy king bathed. As soon as he came from the waters, Midas touched the twig of a tree. He gazed on it fearfully, dreading to see it change to gold. But, to his great joy, it remained green and leafy. "Now may Dionysus be praised," he said. "The golden touch has indeed left me." He touched the ground and picked up many stones, but they did not change. He plucked some ripening grapes from the hedge and eagerly put them to his mouth. They remained soft and juicy, and with delight the king ate them, for he was very hungry. Then he remembered his golden children and his golden slave. Tears sprang to his eyes and rolled down his cheeks. But this time they were real tears, not golden ones. He borrowed a jug from a nearby cottage and filled it with water from the river. Then he ran to his palace. He emptied the water over his children and his slave. To his joy, they came alive once more. The king embraced his children lovingly, and then, happy once again, turned to go with them into the palace. He sat down at the table and looked around. "Take these gold dishes away," he commanded. "Bring me plain and common ones, for I sicken at the sight of gold." In surprise, his servants did his bidding. Then, taking his bread and meat from common dishes, the king ate the best meal he had ever tasted. The bread remained bread, the meat remained meat, and the wine remained wine. Thus was Midas cured of his great greed for gold, and learnt that riches do not bring a man happiness or peace.